In this session, we will see about output devices and their types. Output devices are hardware devices which are used to display or present information to the user. Hence, the CPU output would be in the form of a digital signal which are perceptible by the humans. So, the CPU converts machine-readable information and into a human-readable form. What is the need for output devices? The computers can function without an output device, but still we require it because of these three reasons. It is very difficult to determine what the computer is doing. Also, difficult to get an indication of errors. It will also be difficult to check for any input which is required. Hence, we would be in need of output devices which are connected to the computer system. What are the different ways of displaying output? There are different ways of displaying the output. The output can be in the form of a text which are the characters, numbers, punctuation marks or any symbol fed to the output device. Using that, we can create words, sentences or paragraphs. Next is the images. They are digital representations of non-text information. Images are drawings, charts and photographs. Audio is in the form of music, speech or any sound which is converted from an electrical signal into sound energy. Videos are images which are played back at speeds that provide the illusion of motion. So, what is easier for the eye is 24 frames per second. If there are more frames, we call it as fast motion picture. If there are lesser frames, we call it as slow motion picture. Let us see what are the output devices we come across every day in our life. Yes, it goes without saying that the printer is the most preferred form of output device. Next is the monitors or the terminals. We also have loudspeakers or the earphones through which we can hear the sound. We use projectors which are going to be an extension of the computer screen. Also, most of us would not have used plotters because it is not for any general purpose. It is only for a specific application. How do we categorize the output devices? Based upon the perception by human beings, it can be divided into visual display output devices, wherein we have got cathode tubes, LCDs which is liquid crystal display or printers. We also have auditory output devices which are speakers and headphones. Next is the tactile output devices which is used in a refreshable braille display. The next form of categorization is with respect to the form of input, is that we are going to have a hard copy. So what is a hard copy? It is the record information copied from a computer onto a paper or any durable surface. It is a permanent one and it is a stable form of output. It is highly portable. Papers are most widely used wherein we can print a text or a graphics. Examples are the printers and the plotters. Next is the soft copy devices. It is an electronic version of an output which can be stored onto a memory or to a disk, which can be modified easily. It is not a permanent form of output. It is temporary in nature and it can vanish after use. It cannot be produced on a paper or any other material. It is not tangible, which means it cannot be touched or carried with us or carried by us. It is in audio or visual form, also textual or graphical information. It can be textual or graphical information. They are faster than hard copy devices. Examples are visual display, audio response systems and projection display. Having seen these categorization, let us move on to the first kind of output device, Let us move on to the first kind of output device, which is printer. Printers are the most commonly used hard copy device. It is a permanent visual record of the data, either in the form of a document or an image. The quality is dependent on two factors, the resolution and the speed. Resolution is by means of dots per inch. We call it as DPI. The speed is based on characters per second, which we call it as CPS, or it can be lines per minute, which is LPM, or pages per minute, which is PPM. We can print both text as well as graphics. It can be black and white or color printer. There are two types based on the printing mechanism used. It is impact and non-impact printers. There are two types of printers, impact printers and non-impact printers. Impact printers use a hammer or a print head to print the character or images onto a paper. The hammer or the print head strikes or presses an increment against the paper. Examples are dot matrix, drum or daisy wheel printers. Non-impact printers, they don't touch the paper while printing. They use chemical, heat or electrical signals to etch the symbols onto the paper. Examples are inkjet, dustjet, laser and thermal printers. Having seen these two types of printers, let us move on to the first type, which is the impact printer. Impact printers use the common typewriter printing mechanism. It is the oldest printing technology but still in use. It works by physically striking a head or a needle against an increment to make a mark on the paper. It can print only one character or an entire line. The most commonly used impact printers are dot matrix printers, daisy wheel printers and drum printers. Let us see the characteristics of impact printers. Impact printers, they make physical contact with the paper. They are robust and they are of low cost. They are useful for bulk printing. Multiple copies can be made. For example, if you want to make 1+2 carbon copies, still we can make it, because it can easily print through many layers of paper. So you can keep carbon sheets in between the papers so that we can have a number of prints. It is very noisy because of the striking activity. It is mechanical nature, so it is slower. It doesn't support transparency. What I mean here is, we cannot take printout on an OHP sheet. There are two types of impact printers. First one is the character printers, which are dot matrix and daisy wheel printers, and the line printers, which are drum and chain printers. Let us see the types of impact printers. They are character printers, which prints a single character at a time by a single stroke of the print head or hammer. They can print only one character at a time, but they cannot print one line at a time. That's why they are called as character printers. Examples are dot matrix and daisy wheel printers. It is not used. Next type of impact printer is the line printer. That's why it's called as line printers. It is a high-speed impact printer because it is capable of printing 500 to 3000 lines per minute. Examples are drum and chain printers. Having seen this, let us move on to the first set of impact printer, which is the dot matrix printer. Some of you would have seen it, but we have used this kind of dot matrix printers. These dot matrix printers are also called as wire matrix printer, and it is the oldest technology. It prints one character at a time, any shape of character which a user specifies. Many special characters which are of different sizes, different size of characters, and any printable graphics can be printed using this dot matrix printer. But all these things, for example, when I say charts and graphs, they will be in the form of dots. Dot matrix printers work at different speeds depending on the quality of print desired, from 200 to over 500 characters per second. The print quality is dependent on the number of pins which are chosen from a matrix of pins to form a dot on the page. So, the number of pins vary from 9 to 24. The resolution is 72 to 360 dots per inch. What are the advantages of dot matrix printers? It is inexpensive, low operating cost. We can print different types of fonts of different line densities and on different types of paper. It is bidirectional in the sense it can print characters from both the directions. So it can print from left to right and from right to left also it can start printing. What are the disadvantages? It prints only in black and white. Image printing ability is very much limited because we cannot use this for printing high quality images because the image would be in the form of dots. Where it is used? It is used for low cost, low quality applications such as cash registers, accounting applications, personal applications or payroll applications. These are also used when carbon copies are needed and quality is not that important. Let us see how this dot matrix printer works. Before going to this, let me tell you that any character which is printed would be in the form of a matrix. This is what? So each and everything would be in the form of a matrix. Characters as well as images are patterns of dots. They are produced by striking the ink-soaked ribbon against the paper with the print head. The print head contains pens that produce a pattern of dots onto the paper. If you take a 24-pin dot matrix printer, it produces more dots which results in better printing of characters which is near letter quality. The dots are very small for normal vision. Dot matrix printers print solid human readable characters. The next type of impact printer is the daisy wheel printers. The print head resembles a daisy flower. This is a daisy flower. This is the print head. So this print head, this is the print head. This resembles the daisy flower. The printing arms resembles the petals of this flower. Hence, this is named as daisy wheel printer. It is also called as letter quality printer because it is capable of printing good quality images. They are also called as smart printers because they are capable of printing in both the directions and it has got built-in microprocessor controlled features. Advantages are it has got high resolution and it is more reliable than the dot matrix printers. Speed is up to 90 characters per second. What are the disadvantages of this daisy wheel printers? Only alphanumeric output can be made on this. We cannot print any graphics. We cannot change the fonts unless the print wheel is physically replaced for different size of fonts, for different font sizes. It is more expensive than dot matrix printers and it is very slow because of the time required to rotate the print wheel for each character desired. Let us see the working of a daisy wheel printer. The print heads are mounted on a metallic or plastic wheels. This is what? So we have got the print heads which are mounted on a plastic wheels. It has got raised characters on each of the tip of the daisy wheel. We have got raised characters using which we can print letters both uppercase as well as lowercase, numbers and punctuation. The print wheel is rotated around until the desired character is under the print hammer. The petal is struck from behind by the print hammer and it strikes the character against the ink ribbon and then onto the paper. So far, we have seen two types of character printers. One is the dot matrix printer, the other one is the daisy wheel printer. Next, let us pass on to the line printer. There are two types of line printers. One is the drum printer, the other is the chain printer. Let us see the drum printer. It prints an entire line in a single operation. This is also called as line printer and this is the most commonly used printer. It is capable of printing continuously at a high speed from 300 to 2000 lines per minute, 96 to 160 characters on a 15-inch line. What are the advantages? As I told you earlier, it has got very high speed of printing. Disadvantages, it is costlier. It is quite loud because of the hammering and it has got limited multi-font capability. The quality is also lower, and if there is mistiming, it causes wavy printing. Where it is used, it is designed for heavy printing in businesses which requires enormous amounts of materials to be printed. The image shown is a line printer, which is capable of printing at a faster speed. Let us see the working of a drum printer. The drum printer has a large rotating drum which is mounted horizontally. The paper is positioned in front of a very wide inked ribbon. So, we have got a very wide inked ribbon which is positioned in front of the drum. It contains characters molded onto its surface in columns around its circumference. So, we have got characters which are molded in columns. For example, if you see we have got W, X, C. For example, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T. All these things are there around the column. It contains characters molded onto its surface in columns around its circumference. Each column contains a complete set of characters. To print, the drum rotates and the desired character comes under the hammer. This is the hammer. Hammers are these. These are the hammers. In between we have got the ribbon. The ribbon is here. In between the paper and the hammer is the ribbon. So, to print, the drum rotates and the desired character comes under the hammer. The hammer strikes the ink ribbon against the paper to print the characters. This is how a drum printer works, and the paper is advanced upward and the next line is printed. The drum rotates at a very high speed and characters are printed by activating the appropriate hammers. How this drum printer works? Let us assume a line consists of one T here in a word, another T in between the word, and another T at the last of that word. So, when the drum rotates, when it sees T at that position, the hammer strikes it and all T's would be printed at the same time. Next time, it moves forward and the next character comes, next character is going to be S. If there are any S, then it will be printed. Next is R. If there are any R, it will be printed. So like this, the drum printer works. The drum rotates at a very high speed and the characters are printed by activating the appropriate hammers. The next set of printer is chain printers. It uses a chain of character sets. Standard character sets are available 48, 64 or 96 characters. The advantage is character fonts can easily be changed and different languages can be used with the same printer. When you want to use different languages, it means the chain has to be changed corresponding to that language. What are the disadvantages of this kind of chain printer? It is very noisy. How does a chain printer work? The chain printer has got chain of characters. There is a ribbon here and there are hammers across. When the chain of characters are passed through this ribbon, if there is going to be a letter which is to be printed, the hammer strikes over the paper and we will be able to get the print done on the paper. Let us see, having seen the types of impact printers, let us now move on to the non-impact printers. Non-impact printers, they help in printing characters and images without striking against the ribbon and onto the paper. That's why it's called as non-impact, because they don't make an impact over the paper. The print head doesn't make contact with the paper. No ink ribbon is required and so ink is sprayed against the paper. Heat and pressure applied will fuse a fine black powder into the shape of a character in the case of a black and white printer. We can use techniques other than physically striking the page to transfer the ink onto the page. There are different methods available. These kind of non-impact printers, they complete one page at a time. That's why it's also called as page printers. The widely used non-impact printers are inkjet printer and laser printers. Let us see the characteristics of non-impact printers. They are faster than impact printers because they have fewer moving parts. It is of less noise because there is no striking mechanism involved. Different styles of printing modes are available here. Even color printing is possible. They are capable of producing high quality graphics. They support transparencies. That means we can take printout on a OHP sheet. It cannot print multi-part forms, like when you want to take carbon copies we cannot do, or different color copies we cannot do, because no impact is made on the paper. These are the characteristics of non-impact printers. Let us see the first type, which is the inkjet printer. All of us would have used this inkjet printer. Inkjet printers, they print characters by spraying very small and precise amount of ink onto the paper or to any other media. It will not touch the paper while creating an image. Then how does it do so? It has series of nozzles which sprays ink on the paper. The colors which will be sprinkled from those nozzles are CMYK. What is CMY? It is cyan, magenta and yellow, which are the complementary colors. That means what are the primary colors? RGB. What is this K then? K is the last letter of black. Then why it is called as CMYK? It is because the CMY printing plates are carefully keyed or aligned with the black key plate. So that's why we have got K being included there. How about the printing quality? It is better than the dot matrix printer and it has got less noise. It possesses many styles of printing modes. Even color printing is possible. What are the advantages of inkjet printers? The quality is better than dot matrix printer. It has got high resolution of 600 dots per inch or more. It can be programmed to print even unusual symbols like Japanese character or Chinese characters. What are the disadvantages of inkjet printer? It is expensive because the cost per page is high. It is lower in cases wherein it has to print a document with multicolor. Where it is used in small businesses and also in home offices. How does this inkjet printer work? There is a print cartridge with a series of tiny electrically heated chambers, wherein we have got the color cartridges which has got the CMYK to create the color tones and a black cartridge to get crisp monochrome output. Cartridges are attached to printheads with a series of small nozzles that spray ink on the surface of the paper. The printhead moves back and forth across the page and based on the instructions given for the type and the quantity of colors. The software also tells the position where the dots of ink should be sprayed. There are two main ways to drop the ink. They are called as bubble jet printers, which uses heat to fire ink onto paper. Next is also inkjet printers use piezoelectric technology, wherein a piezoelectric crystal is placed at the back of the ink reservoir. Next set of printers are laser printers. Laser printers produce high quality text as well as images. The principle is same as that of a photocopy machine. It is also called a page printer because it can process and store the entire page before printing. What are the characteristics of laser printer? It is a very fast printer capable of printing 12 to 20 pages per minute. It can print text as well as graphics. It has got very high resolution from 300 to 1200 dpi. dpi is dots per inch. We can print different fonts. That means different styles and sizes. Both color and black and white printers are available for printing color and black and white images. It is more expensive. How does a laser printer work? The core component of a laser printer is the photoreceptor drum. It has got a rotating mirror which causes beam of laser to sweep across the photoconductive drum. It charges the photoconductive drum positively. The charged photoconductor is exposed to an optical image through a beam of light, which forms a latent or an invisible image. The laser strikes the surface of the drum, creates a dot of positive charge, which is represented by a black dot printed on the paper. The printer coats the drum with a container which is otherwise called as toner, which has got the respective powders. Those toners are negatively charged, so it clings on to the positive areas of the drum surface. It is because the drum is already positively charged, the toner is negatively charged, so it clings to positive areas of the drum surface. When the powder pattern gets fixed, the drum is rotated and the paper is fed into the drum surface via a pressure roller, wherein the toner powder is transferred onto the paper. The paper moves at the same speed as the drum. It picks up the image pattern precisely, and the paper passes through a pair of heated rollers, wherein the loose toner powder gets melted and fused with the fibers which are present in the paper. This is how the laser printer works. Now, let us move on to the next set of printer, which is thermal printer. Thermal printers produce prints on thermal paper by selective heating, wherein heated areas turn black. What is the advantage of this thermal printer? It is inexpensive, it prints faster and quieter than the dot matrix. What are the disadvantages? It produces a poor quality print, and the printed matter fades after a week or two. Where it is used? You would already you would have already seen these kind of thermal printers which are there in fax machines, calculators, grocery and departmental stores, wherein when you buy anything, give you a bill which is onto a thermal paper, which gets faded after a few days. Having seen the different types of impact and non-impact printers, let us now move on to the next one, which is about plotters. Nobody would have used the plotters because we are not civil engineers or architects who would need that to take a blueprint or to draw the car parts. The plotters are ideal pen-based output devices making vector graphics. It means images are created by means of many straight lines. Plotters are used to draw high-resolution charts, graphs, blueprints, maps or circuit diagrams. They are similar to printers, but they draw lines using a pen and they produce continuous lines, whereas in printers we have got closely spaced series of dots rather than lines. Multicolor plotters are available, so we have different colored pens to draw different colors. 4 pens would be used, like we saw earlier. It is complementary colors: cyan, magenta, yellow and black. It needs no human intervention to change them. What are the advantages of plotters? Plotters are used to produce more printouts of good quality, but the disadvantage is it is expensive than the printers. Where it is used? As I told earlier, it is used by architects, engineers and city planners to generate high precision hard copy graphic output of varying sizes, just as you use it to print out plans of house or car parts. It is also used with AutoCAD to get graphic outputs. There are 2 types of plotters available. In the first type, the paper moves, whereas in the second type, the paper is stationary. We call it as drum plotters, wherein paper is placed over a drum. One or more pens are mounted on a carriage. The drum rotates in either clockwise or anti-clockwise direction, and control of plotting instructions are sent by the computer. It is capable of producing continuous output to plot an earthquake activity or to draw tall building structures. The next type of plotter is the flatbed plotters. It has a stationary horizontal plotting surface on which the paper is fixed. The pen mounted on the carriage moves horizontally, vertically, leftwards or rightwards to draw a line. But the paper does not move. Only the pen holding mechanism moves. Based on the instructions by the computer, the movement of pens are controlled on the XY coordinates of the page. Any standard size from A4 to some very big bits can also be printed. Where it is used, based on the size of flatbed surface, it is used in the design of ships, aircrafts and buildings. What is the disadvantage of it? It is slow because it takes hours to complete a complex drawing. So far, we have been discussing the various kinds of printers. The next widely used output device is the monitors. It is the most frequently used soft copy device which is capable of producing visual output. It resembles the TV screen and it is available in different sizes from 14 inch, 15 inch, 17 inch, 19 inch, 21 inch and still further and still more. It is also called as display screens or visual display unit or visual display terminal. It can be a monochrome display or a color display, but nobody uses monochrome display nowadays. In a notebook computer, if you see, the screen size is usually smaller from 12 to 15 inches. The number of colors displayed varies with the kind of color adapter attached. We have got different types of color adapters. CGA, which is color graphics adapter, EGA, which is enhanced graphics adapter, VGA, which is video graphics adapter, XGA, which is enhanced graphics adapter, and SVGA, which is super video graphics adapter. If you take the CGA monitor, it has only 4 colors, but VGA has got 1.6 crores of colors. The images are in the form of dots or pixel, which is the smallest unit on the screen. The number of pixels determine the clarity of the picture on the screen. If you have more number of pixels, it has got higher resolution and you will get a clearer picture on the screen. You will be able to see a clearer picture on the screen. These pixels are turned on or off or made from different shades. The sharpness depends on the number of pixels. Higher the pixel count, higher the resolution. The resolutions available are 640 by 480, 800 by 600, 1024 by 768, 1280 by 1024, and now we have got even more resolution. There are different sizes which are measured. There are different sizes of display which are measured diagonally in inches. 12 inch, 14 inch, 15 inch, 17 inch, 19 inch, 21 inch, 29 inch. The amount of information which is stored in a pixel varies. Display, if it is a monochrome monitor, we use only 1 bit. That means it's capable of either black or white, because 1 bit is enough to represent a 0 or a 1 in the case of a black and white picture. When you say it is going to be a grayscale monitor, it is capable of handling 8 bits at a time, and we can have more shades of grade. When the number of bits are 24 or 32, we will get a true color which is very close to the original. It will look like a photographic image as well. What are the different types available? It is the CRT, LCD and the DLP. Let us see the first kind of display, which is the CRT display. It is similar to the older TV sets. The screen is of 80 characters of data horizontally and 25 lines vertically. What are the components present? We have an electron gun assembly, we have got the deflection plate assembly to deflect the electron beam onto the fluorescent screen, and a glass envelope. The light emitted from the 3 electron guns, that is RGB, they strike on the screen, and we are able to get the corresponding images on the screen. Nowadays, these CRTs are replaced by LCDs, but still used by some graphics professionals because of the color quality. What are the disadvantages? It is large in size, consumes more power. The most widely used CRT is the raster scan display. Electron beam is swept across the screen one row at a time from top to bottom. When the electron beam moves across each row, it creates a pattern of illuminated spots which can be stored in a memory in a refresh buffer or a frame buffer. At the end of each scan line, the electron beam returns to the left side of the screen to begin displaying the next scan line. So we have got horizontal retrace and the vertical retrace. Horizontal retrace in a display, we have the horizontal retrace which returns to the, from here it scans and then we don't have any information in the return path. Again we have got the horizontal path and there is no information in the return path. So these are the horizontal traces. What is a vertical trace? After finishing the entire set of horizontal lines, the trace, when it finishes the last line, it goes back to the first line. That is what? Vertical retrace means the beam returns to the top left of the screen to begin the next frame. What are the advantages of this raster scan? It is capable of producing excellent color. It has got high dynamic range which can display in any resolution and refresh rate. What are the disadvantages? It is large size and weight. High power consumption and heat generated is more because it consumes more power. It suffers from screen burn-in. It flickers at low refresh rates. The next type, having seen the CRT, we will now move on to the next type, which is the flat panel display monitor. What are the characteristics of flat panel display monitor? It is thin, lightweight, it has got better linearity, it has got high resolution and less power requirement. Example, the kind of monitors we have in our laptops. There are two categories of it. It is the LCD and the LED. Liquid LCDs are lightweight, compact, portable, cheap, more reliable and easier on the eyes than the CRT. LCDs consist of thin flat panel for displaying the information electronically. In the sense, it can display text, images or moving pictures. It does not directly emit light in order to create visualization but modifies the transmission of light to represent images. All of us would be using only this kind of LCD displays. Let us see about the LCD screens. LCD screens consist of thin layer of liquid crystal. That's why it's called as liquid crystal display. Thin layer of liquid crystal sandwiched between two electrically conducting plates. The top plate consists of transparent electrodes deposited on it. The back plate is illuminated to see the images on the screen. The plates are controlled by electrical signals and it activates the liquid crystal. It activates the liquid crystal which is in between the two plates. It causes changes in their light diffusing or polarizing properties and images are produced by passing light through selected segments of liquid crystal to the viewer. What are the advantages of LCDs? It occupies less space, it can be of larger sizes, it consumes less power. What are the disadvantages? The durability is a disadvantage. Color also becomes a problem. The viewing angle is a problem. Price is costlier. Where it is used? It is used in laptops, TV, digital cameras and also in cellular phones. Let us see the next type of display, which is light emitting diode display, which we call it as LED display. LEDs are used in displays and it works on the injection luminance. It is available in different sizes and shapes. The advantages of LED displays are It is inexpensive, it consumes less power, it has got fast response time, and it produces good viewing angle. Let us see the difference between CRT and LCD. CRT occupies more desk space, whereas LCD occupies less desk space. CRTs are less expensive, whereas LCDs are more expensive. CRTs consume more energy, hence more power dissipation, whereas LCDs, they are energy efficient. CRTs give rise to harmful radiations which causes infection to the eyes, whereas no radiation is there from LCDs. CRTs are heavier and bulkier, whereas LCDs are lighter. CRTs were used in TVs and PCs. Nowadays, LCDs are being used on the PCs, laptops, PDAs, and cell phones. These are the differences between CRT and LCD. Having seen this, let us move on to the differences between LED and LCD. LEDs are PN junction devices, whereas LCDs are optical devices. There is no backlight in LED, but there is a backlight in LCD. The power requirement is more for LED and less for LCD. So the display area is very small in the case of LED, whereas LCD has got a large display area. The cost is high with respect to LED displays, and LCD displays are of lower cost. What is the material used for making this kind of LED display? It is gallium arsenide phosphide, whereas LCDs have liquid crystals and gas electrodes. The switching time is fast in LED, whereas for LCD it is slow. So far, we have seen three types of displays: the CRT, which is cathode ray tube displays, the LCD, which is the liquid crystal display, and the LED, which is the light emitting diode display. There are different kinds of LED displays which are available now. We call it as AMO-LED, which is active matrix LED, or we call it as QLED, which is quantum LED. These kind of AMO-LEDs and quantum LEDs are available in the market now. Next, let us move on to the projectors. Projectors project a computer screen for a large version of display onto the flat surface. It is used for making multimedia presentations in classrooms or conference rooms. All of us would have been using a projector for making presentations. So there are three types of projectors available. One is the cathode ray tube projector, the liquid crystal display projector, and the DLP, which is the digital light processing projector. Let us see about the LCD projectors. LCD projectors, they use three separate LCD glass panels for the RGB components of the image to be fed to the projector. As light passes through the LCD panels, the individual pixels are open to allow light to pass through or closed to block the light, which modulates the light and produces the image that is projected onto a screen. DLP projectors are newer technology than LCD. It uses a single digital mirror device, we call it as DMD chip. It consists of thousands of tiny mirrors, each representing a single pixel. Mirrors, they will tilt back and forth to create the image, which directs the light either into the lens path for the pixel to be turned on or away from the lens path wherein the pixels are turned off. These kind of DLP projectors are used on some of the smallest or lightest projectors. It can handle video images very well. So far, we have seen about projectors and their types. Predominantly, LCDs and DLP projectors are used nowadays. The next display is refreshable braille display. It is a tactile kind of display. It is a real-time text-to-braille translation device. It is an electromechanical device for displaying braille characters. These are the round-tipped pins raised through holes on a flat surface. It converts the text into braille characters. It is dynamically rendered on a refreshable display. which is 5 inch by 2 inch. Where it is used? It is used by visually impaired people to read text output. The deaf-blind can use this kind of refreshable braille displays along with speech synthesizers. Having seen these displays, let us now move on to the audio output devices. Voice can be an input to a computer or it can be an output from a computer. The form of audio can be verbal or audio responses from the computer system. Sounds can be pre-recorded and it can have a unique code. We also have tone generators, which are beeps or alerting tones. Alarms are also generated for warning. We also have digitized speech, which is digitally recorded human speech. Also, we have text-to-speech synthesis, which is the speech generated by concatenating basic speech sounds according to the rules. These kinds of audio output which are fed to the devices so that we will be in a position to hear them. Where it is used? It is used in airline, bus terminals and banks. For example, in airlines, they make calls like people who are reported for a particular airline, they are being called automatically. The type of devices which are used for this audio output are the speakers and headphones. The speakers are hardware devices connected to the computer sound card which uses the output sounds generated by the computer. It is used for alerting the user, play music or spoken text. Headphones are smaller speakers which are kept closer to the ears of the user so that we can listen music and sounds all alone. We even use the headphones to answer to the calls. Next is the terminals. Terminals are special units because they are capable of performing both input and output. They all have a keyboard and a monitor. They are also called as video display units or video display terminals. What are the types of terminals? There are 3 types of terminals. We call it as a dumb terminal. It means it has only a keyboard and a monitor. There is no built-in data processing or programming capabilities attached to the terminal. It connects to the host computer that performs processing and sends output back. It helps in doing a simple data entry or a retrieval task. It is used in airports at the ticket or the check-in counters. These kind of dumb terminals are used at the airport in the ticket or the check-in counters. The next set of terminal, we call it as smart terminal. Why it's smart? Because it has got a built-in processing capability as well as memory. It is not like a dumb terminal. So it doesn't own any storage capacity. It is used in LANs, in the offices. What is an intelligent terminal? It has got processing capabilities due to the inbuilt processor as well as memory. It is also called as user programmable terminal. It operates as a PC or have access to the mainframes. It can independently perform a certain number of jobs without interacting with the host. So, altogether, we have seen 3 kinds of terminals which are dumb terminals, smart terminals and intelligent terminals.